My financially irresponsible ex-fiancée tried to crash my wedding, but my security had other plans. My story, I suppose, begins not with the dramatic crescendo of my wedding day, but with the slow, almost imperceptible unraveling of my previous engagement. Her name was Cassandra, and from the outside, she was a vision. Beautiful, charismatic, with a laugh that could light up a room and eyes that sparkled with an infectious zest for life. We met in college, a whirlwind romance that felt like destiny at the time. I was a budding software engineer, meticulous and forward-thinking, already squirreling away money for a future I envisioned with stability and comfort. She was an art history major, passionate and free-spirited, living for the moment. Our differences, initially, seemed to complement each other. I grounded her, she inspired me to loosen up. Or so I thought. The first crack in our seemingly perfect facade appeared subtly, in the form of small, seemingly innocuous requests. A new dress for a party, a spontaneous weekend trip we hadn't budgeted for, a new gadget she just had to have. I, being deeply in love, indulged her. I told myself that these were minor expenditures, the cost of making her happy. But these small requests grew into larger ones, and soon, I found myself constantly covering her share of bills, bailing her out of credit card debt she'd accumulated on impulse purchases, and even, once, paying her rent when she'd spent her entire paycheck on a designer handbag. I tried to talk to her, gently at first, about financial responsibility. I explained my philosophy, my plans for our future, the importance of saving, of having a safety net. She would nod, agree, promise to do better, and then, a week later, another unannounced package would arrive, or another text message would pop up, asking me to transfer money for something she absolutely needed. It became a pattern. A cycle of my concern, her remorseful promises, and then the inevitable relapse into impulsive spending. My family, particularly my parents, saw it long before I did. They were always polite to Cassandra, but their raised eyebrows and subtle questions about our financial arrangements didn't go unnoticed. My father, a shrewd businessman, once pulled me aside and said, "Son, love is blind, but it shouldn't be deaf. Listen to what she's not saying, and watch what she's doing." I dismissed his concerns, attributing them to parental overprotectiveness. I truly believed I could help Cassandra, that my love and guidance would eventually lead her to embrace financial prudence. We got engaged after 3 years of dating. It was a beautiful proposal, on a moonlit beach, and I was genuinely overjoyed. I thought this was it, the turning point. With a wedding to plan and a future to build, surely she would take things more seriously. We started looking at houses, and that's when the financial reality truly hit a wall. Every house I liked, every sensible option within our budget, she found some fault with. It was too small, too far from the city, not stylish enough. She had her heart set on a sprawling, modern home that was well beyond what we could comfortably afford. Even with my substantial savings, I tried to explain the concept of a mortgage, of down payments, of property taxes and maintenance. She waved away my concerns with a dismissive hand. "We'll figure it out," she'd say, "or your parents can help, they have plenty." That last comment was a particularly bitter pill to swallow. My parents had worked tirelessly for everything they had, and the idea of them subsidizing Cassandra's lavish tastes infuriated me. The final straw came a few months before our planned wedding. We had secured a loan for a more modest home, one that was still very nice but not the palace Cassandra envisioned. We were supposed to close in 2 weeks. I had put down a significant deposit, a sizable chunk of my savings. One evening, I received a frantic call from her. She had invested a substantial sum of money she had promised to contribute to our down payment, in a dubious online cryptocurrency scheme her friend had told her about. The scheme, predictably, had imploded, and all the money was gone. She was tearful, apologetic, swearing she had meant well, that she thought she was making us more money. I hung up the phone, my heart pounding with a mixture of anger, betrayal, and a crushing sense of disillusionment. This wasn't a minor mistake. It was a fundamental incompatibility in our values, a complete disregard for our shared future. I realized then that I couldn't spend the rest of my life constantly trying to plug financial holes, constantly worrying about the next impulsive decision. I loved her, or at least, I had loved the idea of her, the person I hoped she would become. But the reality was, she wasn't that person, and I couldn't force her to be. The conversation that followed was painful. I told her I couldn't marry her. She pleaded, she cried, she promised to change, to get a financial advisor, to let me manage all the money. But the trust was shattered. I couldn't unsee the pattern, couldn't unfeel the constant anxiety her decisions had caused. I called off the wedding, swallowed the loss of the down payment, and moved out of our shared apartment. My friends and family were supportive, though many admitted they weren't surprised. My parents, in particular, offered quiet comfort and a resounding, "We told you so," without actually saying it. The aftermath was messy. Cassandra tried to manipulate me, using guilt trips and emotional blackmail. She tried to enlist our mutual friends to convince me to take her back. I had to go completely no contact, block her on social media, and change my phone number. It was difficult, but necessary for my own sanity and healing. Fast forward 2 years. I had immersed myself in my work, focused on building my career, and eventually began dating again. That's when I met Sarah. Sarah was everything Cassandra wasn't, in the best possible way. She was kind, thoughtful, incredibly intelligent, and most importantly, financially responsible. We had open and honest conversations about money from the very beginning. We had similar aspirations for the future, a shared vision of a comfortable, stable life built on mutual respect and careful planning. We moved in together after a year, bought a house that we could both comfortably afford, and started building a life that felt genuinely harmonious. Our engagement was quiet, intimate, and perfect. We planned a beautiful wedding, a medium-sized affair with our closest friends and family, held at a picturesque botanical garden. Sarah handled most of the planning, a testament to her incredible organizational skills, and I was happy to contribute wherever I could. We sent out invitations well in advance, and everything was progressing smoothly. Then, about 2 months before the wedding, I received a cryptic email. It was from an address I didn't recognize, but the subject line read, "A message from Cassandra." My heart sank. I almost deleted it unread, but a morbid curiosity, coupled with a desire to ensure she wasn't planning anything truly disruptive, made me open it. The email was a rambling, incoherent mess. She talked about how much she missed me, how she'd made mistakes, how she had changed and was now doing so much better. She even included links to some of her art projects, clearly trying to impress me with her newfound success. The core of the email, however, was a plea for me to reconsider our relationship. She said she had heard through mutual acquaintances, likely one of her old friends who hadn't gotten the memo about my no-contact policy, that I was getting married. She claimed it was a mistake, that we were meant to be, and that I was making a terrible error by marrying someone else. She ended the email with a chilling line, "I just want to talk, in person. I'll be there." No specific date, no time, just a vague, unsettling threat that I immediately forwarded the email to Sarah. She read it, her face a mixture of concern and a touch of amusement. "She's clearly not well," Sarah said, "but this is definitely a problem." We discussed it with my parents, who were equally concerned. My father, ever the pragmatist, suggested we beef up security for the wedding. I initially hesitated. It felt like an overreaction. Surely, Cassandra wouldn't actually show up to my wedding, uninvited, and cause a scene? That seemed like something out of a bad romantic comedy. But Sarah, with her calm logic, pointed out, even if it's a slim chance, do you want to spend your wedding day worrying about it? Or do you want to be able to fully enjoy every moment? She was right. The peace of mind was worth the extra expense that we hired 2 discreet, professional security guards for the wedding day. They were instructed to keep an eye out for anyone not on the guest list, specifically a woman matching Cassandra's description. We provided them with a recent photo of her, explaining the situation without going into excessive detail. The plan was simple. If she showed up, she was to be politely but firmly turned away. If she refused to leave or caused a disturbance, she was to be escorted off the property. We hoped it wouldn't come to that, but we were prepared. The wedding day dawned bright and beautiful. The botanical garden was stunning, the flowers were in full bloom, and everything was perfect. Sarah looked absolutely breathtaking in her wedding dress, and I felt a sense of peace and joy I hadn't thought possible after my previous engagement. The ceremony was beautiful, filled with laughter and happy tears, and as we exchanged vows, I knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that I was marrying the right person. The reception was a lively affair, with delicious food, flowing drinks, and a fantastic band. Everyone was having a wonderful time. Sarah and I were mingling with guests, enjoying our first moments as a married couple, when my father subtly caught my eye and gestured towards the entrance. My heart gave a little lurch. There she was. Cassandra. She was wearing a vibrant, somewhat inappropriately revealing red dress that stood out starkly against the elegant attire of our other guests. Her hair was done up in an elaborate style, and she carried a small, unadorned gift bag. She looked determined. She was trying to walk past one of the security guards, feigning nonchalance, as if she belonged there. The guard, a tall, imposing man with a calm demeanor, stepped in front of her. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I could see his hand gently but firmly directing her away from the main reception area. Cassandra stopped, her face contorting into a mask of frustration. She started gesticulating wildly, her voice rising in volume. "I need to see him. He's my fiancé. This is a mistake," she shrieked, loud enough for a few nearby guests to turn their heads. My stomach churned. This was exactly what I had feared. Sarah, seeing the commotion, squeezed my hand reassuringly. "Don't worry," she whispered. "They've got it." The second security guard had now joined the first, creating a human barrier between Cassandra and the reception. The first guard continued to speak to her in a low, even tone, clearly trying to de-escalate the situation. But Cassandra wasn't having it. She was getting louder, more agitated, demanding to speak to me, calling me by my full name, making a scene. "He's been tricked. She's manipulative. He doesn't love her, he loves me," she wailed, pointing dramatically in Sarah's direction. At this point, my best man, Michael, who had been informed of the potential situation, calmly walked over to the security guards. He'd known Cassandra from our college days and understood the history. He spoke a few words to the guards, confirming their instructions, and then turned to Cassandra. "Cassandra," he said, his voice firm but not aggressive, "you need to leave. You're not welcome here." "Michael, you traitor. You know how much he loved me," she screeched, trying to push past the guards. That's when things escalated slightly. One of the security guards, seeing she was becoming physically aggressive, placed a hand on her arm, guiding her more forcefully towards the exit. Cassandra, perhaps fueled by alcohol or sheer desperation, pulled away sharply, swinging her gift bag, which narrowly missed the guard's head. "Don't touch me. I'll call the police," she screamed, though her own actions were far more disruptive than anything the guards had done. The guards, however, were unflappable. They exchanged a look, and then, with practiced efficiency, each took one of her arms, gently but firmly, and began to escort her away from the building. She struggled, shouted, and even tried to kick, but they were professionals, and she was no match for them. As they led her down the path towards the parking lot, she let out one final, desperate cry. "You'll regret this. You'll all regret this." The commotion, thankfully, was short-lived. Most of our guests, bless their hearts, pretended not to notice, or simply assumed it was a minor misunderstanding with an overly enthusiastic delivery person. A few curious glances were cast, but no one rushed over to gawk or intervene. My parents and Sarah's parents had already been made aware of the possibility, so they remained calm, offering reassuring smiles. Within minutes, Cassandra was gone, escorted off the property and out of sight. The security guards returned, gave us a quick nod to confirm she was no longer a threat, and then subtly melted back into the background, resuming their duties. A wave of relief washed over me. The incident, while momentarily stressful, had been handled swiftly and professionally. It hadn't ruined our day. If anything, it solidified my appreciation for Sarah's foresight and my friends' and family's support. I looked at Sarah, who was smiling serenely. "Well," she said, raising an eyebrow playfully, "that was certainly memorable." I laughed, pulling her closer. Memorable, but not in the way she wanted it to be. "Thank you for making sure our day was protected, my love." The rest of the evening was truly perfect. We danced, we celebrated, and we enjoyed every moment with our loved ones. The brief appearance of Cassandra became nothing more than a bizarre, almost comical footnote in the grand story of our wedding day. It was a stark reminder of the bullet I had dodged, and a powerful affirmation that I had made the right choice, not just in Sarah, but in valuing stability, trust, and shared values above superficial charm. Our life together, I knew, would be built on a much stronger, more secure foundation.